There's a lot of different perspectives I got from that, so thank you. And with that in mind, with the new perspective that we have for you, we have a tradition on the show where everybody gets to speak their piece, gets to say what their big picture is for the week. So why don't you, Matt, share with us what your big picture is?
I'm about to anger a whole lot of people and make the other half quite happy because it seems to be 50-50 on people's feelings on this. And we're going to talk about Jared Goff. And we're going to talk about the expected greatness that people are having for Jared Goff based off the second half of last season. And I'm going to share, I'm not going to tell you shouldn't root for this, shouldn't want this, obviously. But I'm going to share with you why I do not expect it and why I don't want him here past this upcoming season. Because after that, it becomes an extension, and now we're paying him for more. And I personally don't think he's the right guy for the job for us. And I personally feel that way because I think 5 full seasons is plenty to know what kind of a quarterback the guy is. I'm not talking about his rookie season. Okay, but after that, it's been 5 full seasons. And he's been okay. And there's nothing wrong with okay, unless you're trying to build a winner, which is what I believe Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell and these new look Lions are trying to do. Now, look, I hear you. Jared Goff led his team to a Super Bowl. No, he didn't. He helped, of course, but he did not lead his team to a Super Bowl. And here's why. The 2018 LA Rams were a good team from top to bottom. Todd Gurley, coming off a 2017 season that saw him total over 2,000 yards from scrimmage, led the way, totaling over 1,800 yards. C.J. Anderson joined late and averaged 150 on the ground as well. And the Rams as a team were over 2,200 rushing yards in 2018. They were 3rd in total rushing yards, 3rd in average per game, 2nd in rushing touchdowns, while being 8th in total rushing attempts. And that makes your quarterback's life a lot easier. And those numbers are something we haven't seen from the Lions since 1997 when Barry was wrecking the league. Defensively, the 2018 Rams were tied for 3rd in interceptions, second in interceptions returned for touchdowns, to go along with Aaron Donald having 20.5 sacks. And yes, 2018 Jared Goff was good. He was. Almost 4,700 yards, a career high, 32 touchdowns, only 12 picks. But to say he led his team to the Super Bowl is just dishonest, while completely ignoring how screwed the 2018 New Orleans Saints were in the final minutes of regulation of the NFC Championship game. Let's take a look at the postseason in general. 2018 divisional round, Rams and Cowboys. Goff, 15 for 28 for 186 yards. Meanwhile, C.J. Anderson rushed 23 times for 123 yards, 11 first downs rushing by him. Todd Gurley rushed 16 times for 115 yards. The Rams' defense forced 4 consecutive punts from the Cowboys, and the Rams win 30-22. NFC Championship game against the Saints, a defensive battle that the Rams won, quote-unquote, 26-23. Jared Goff was 25 of 40 for 297 yards, a touchdown and a pick. C.J. Anderson, rough day on the ground. Todd Gurley, really rough day on the ground. Brandon Cooks, star of the game for LA, catching 7 passes, gaining over 30 yards after the catch, and getting over 100 yards. And then the Super Bowl where the Rams lost 13-3. Jared Goff, rough day, 19 of 38, 229 yards and a pick. He was sacked 4 times, hit 7 times, hurried 5 other times. Really rough day at the office. Gurley rushed 10 times for 35 yards. C.J. Anderson, 7 for 22. Bad game by the Rams. Patriots had their number. That following year, 2019, the same 13-3 Rams went 9-7. Goff had almost the same yardage, but 10 less touchdowns and 4 more interceptions. The difference? The defense went from tied for 3rd in interceptions to 13th. Donald went from 20.5 to only 12.5 sacks. But the biggest difference, the Rams went from 3rd to 26th in rushing offense. Todd Gurley, who showed signs during the playoffs of slowing down the year before, was a shell of himself, and the Rams went with him. They went from 2nd in total offense in 2018 to 11th in 19 to 22nd in 2020. All of this to say this. Jared Goff is an okay quarterback. And when surrounded by a great team, he can make a deep run. But Detroit is not that. Haven't been that in a very, very long time. But Holmes, Campbell, and co. are working towards getting the Lions there. In 2 drafts, I think they've done a really good job of focusing on the trenches and building out from there, which I believe is the right way to build a team. We have young stars at the skills position, from wide receiver to tight end to running back, an O-line and D-line that should be middle of the pack at worst this year, but our secondary is still terrible and that needs work, but it is being built, in my mind, the right way. Am I rooting against the Lions? Of course not. I've been a Lions fan for over 35 years. But I also know we are not where we need to be yet, nor am I expecting us to be there yet. But I also don't expect Jared Goff to be our starting quarterback when we finally get to say we are no longer the laughingstock of the NFL. He's not the guy we need for our future, but he's perfectly fine for last year, and he's perfectly fine for this year because I want a so-so record where we get another good pick to help build to what we could become. Next year is the year I believe we start our ascension, and we need the right quarterback for that ascension. Jared Goff, to me, is just not that guy. I think we've had enough years of proof, accept it or not, but don't kill the messenger.
Oh, all the stats. I love that. That is by far the most information-driven big picture we've had so far. So bravo to you for that.
Thank you, thank you.
Man on a mission, I'ma get it. You know I be on a what?